production of gases, as briefly explained, as I understand, with different voltages and high currents, does not make that much difference in the state of the GANs produced, because the limitation is in separation. Once an atom separates as another material into a singularity, or what we call a GANs, unless you can absorb more energy and you can create energies above its matter state GANs, then it evolves. But again, to the matter level. If you introduce a GANs current to the GANs, you will see it behave different. So there are a lot of limitations, a lot of understanding. This is why a long time ago I spoke about GANs of GANSes. Creating GANSes out of the energy balance, not out of matter state balance. And if the scientists of today, or knowledge seekers of today, will understand this, then we can create a lot of new condition damage. Does not matter how much current you produce. The only thing you will change is very limited, because the rest of the energy you put in as a matter, current or voltage, will not change much in the structure of the GANs, energy magnetic field balance. You affect the boundaries they create, but you won't affect the actual entity. And till those come into balance, you might see your GANSes change color from one thing to another, because they're just like a virus, they give energy somewhere else till they deplete to the energy they are. Then to create a true multiplication of the GANSes and the fields of the body of the man, the knowledge seekers are about maybe 3-5 years away. None of you have understood this. That to create a combination of the GANSes that the full body of the man needs, you have not come to understand the totality of the truth about the creation in the dimension of this created system. And as I always said, I play along with you till you understand. The knowledge seekers who work around me, work with me, they understand this. I teach, I explain something, and if it's understood at a point, I'll let it go. Months later, years later, I'll come back to it and say, remember we did this, now you understand the knowledge? As knowledge seekers, if you carry on with what you're doing with the GANSes you created and you're trying to feed yourself, you'll still be shortfalling on what this planet has done. And a few knowledge seekers, what I see and what I hear in the scientific world, and knowledge seekers who are the layman, like many of you, you have not come to understand this. You make GANSes, but you still need to go and eat, because you have not managed to create a spectrum of the field energies of the body. In the body of the man, you need GANs of uranium, you need the GANs of plutonium, you need the GANs of gold, you need the GANs of hydrogen, you need the GANs of every other element. And sometimes the closest you can get to, not even near to, is the GANs of the seawater. But again, which water from which sea? All the animals in the ocean are not the same. Depending on the combination of the elements and condition, you get different fishes and animals in the ocean. But One thing you have to realize is that, do you see man in the sea today? So the sea does not provide all man needs, otherwise man would have been living in the ocean. Man lives out of the combination of the fields of the matter, liquid, and the gas of this planet. When you manage to understand this, then you understand you access to some of the knowledge that it needs to feed the man. This is why we are different color and races and creeds. You don't find, as our what I call knowledgeable politicians said, the polar bears are eating all the other ones, penguins, and that's a problem of global warming. What he didn't understand was that polar bears are in the North Pole and they have a long way to swim, that all the ice in the North Pole melts, that they can get to the South Pole to eat the penguins. That's why we don't have Mr. Al Gore as President of the United States. He never came to understand the polar bears are in the North and the penguins in the South. And he was the head of CO2 and the global warming of us as human race. So understand, you need a combination of the fields of the air of this planet, a combination of the matter state of this planet, which comes in through the soil, through the matter states we absorb, to the animals who eat it. And then we need to understand what the liquids of this planet creates and gives us, because we drink it all the time. Does not matter how many times is siphoned, cleaned, and pasteurized, and everything else. So for you to understand how to create a system to feed the man, is you have to bring everything together. If you have been somebody who worked with me years ago when I used to build a system, you always got 3 bottles from me. One was for the air, one was for the water, and one was for eating, which is the body of the man absorbed.